Okay, I think we're live now. What is up, everybody? Welcome. Thank you for stopping by today, this early afternoon. I'd like to start doing streams a little bit earlier if I can. We'll see. Trying to get into the new routine with school, my daughter, and working out and just all this stuff. But I was sent this story by True Crime Replay, which thank you for all the information that she sent me, like timeline, which we're going to take a look at, flyers. She's on Twitter and on Facebook, and there's a group on Facebook. I put the links in the description. And I'm going to do my best to try to tell this story. We're going to go through some articles. We're going to watch some videos. We're going to look at some court documents. It was kind of hard for me to follow some of the things because there's a lot of people, but it's a messed up story. It does need some attention. This woman, Ciera Breland, she's still missing since February 24th. And the circumstances are just like suspicious and odd. And also I was trying to figure out how I was going to tell you guys where to even start. And so I think the first place we can start is with one of the flyers that True Crime Replay made. And this is just a little synopsis of the story. And so this is Ciera, and that's the current husband, Xavier Breland. And also we're going to be talking about his ex-wife, because that situation is pretty weird too, because she alleged that one time he had told her that you could end up missing like this, and he showed her like a missing person's flyer and kind of like threatened her. And now the new wife is actually missing, the current wife. So let me start with this. February 24th, 2022, age 31. He's 37. And we're going to talk about these stalking charges too, because that's weird as hell. Even though like he was found, I think, not guilty, but he was kept on unrelated charges. But like he had put some sort of camera and a teddy bear. I think this was with the ex. A camera and a teddy bear to keep an eye on what she was doing or whatever with the kids. We'll talk about that further down the line. But Ciera was last seen February 24th, 2022 at 7:17 p.m. leaving the house of her mother-in-law along Highgate Manor Court in the Parsons Walk division of Johns Creek, Georgia. So Ciera and Xavier, they lived in Indiana, but they went to go visit family in Georgia. They're originally from Georgia, but they moved to Indiana. But we'll be talking more about that. She was in the midst of planning her escape from her abusive husband, Xavier, allegedly. When she went missing after a trip visiting her family, Xavier reported her missing in Indiana after he returned home. Her family only discovering she was missing from a police call, because she goes missing. He reports it a day after, and I guess he didn't tell the family. They find out from like police. Since there has been no evidence she ever made it out of Georgia, on a Zoom call, which we're going to take a look at some of that video on the news station, with his stepchildren, he said she was kidnapped. Do you know what that means when you kidnap an adult? She's not coming home, bud. That's what I guess he told that to the kids. Let me see the note. The True Crime Replay told me that Xavier told the kids Ciera was kidnapped. That was to his oldest child of his ex-wife. So he has two kids with his ex-wife, and Ciera and Xavier, they have a child as well, a son together. At the time, the son was 5 months old. I don't know how old he is now, but so he tells this to his stepchildren. His story to police was that she left the house of her own free will the night prior. Ciera was actively trying to escape her abusive marriage. Her son was only 5 months old when she vanished. Okay. So this is just like the beginning, the start. It's a good like synopsis. And let me come over here. Okay. Oh, and she's also a lawyer. Ciera Breland, a lawyer and mother of a 5-month-old, had disappeared, and her family says her husband was abusive and she planned to leave him. One of the many things that makes no sense in the disappearance of Ciera Breland is her husband's statement to Indiana police that he last saw her on February 25th when she left their home on foot at 10 p.m. wearing shorts and a tank top. It was the dead of winter and the temperatures were in the 20s, according to the AccuWeather records. She left behind her wallet, her keys, her cell phone, and her identification, police said. She also left behind her 5-month-old son, to whom she was devoted, her family said. Now, the other thing, too, with regards to like the cell phone, the cell phone was a burner phone. So it said family members said police told them she never arrived and there was no surveillance video of her entering the store. They're also concerned because her personal phone, her work phone, and a burner phone were all left behind along with her ID, credit cards, and the 5-month-old son. Family said she had the burner phone to contact them in case of an emergency. And that was supposedly too in case something's going on with this guy. That's what the burner phone was for. The other thing too, it says investigators have been able to determine the last known time of Ciera was at 7:17 on February 24th at the home in Highgate Manor Court in Parsons Walk subdivision of Johns Creek. The Johns Creek Police Department confirmed that information. The address given by police is the same address family members have said is the home of the mother-in-law. So we got Xavier, we have Ciera. Rochelle is Xavier's mother, which would be Ciera's mother-in-law. So that's the last known confirmed location, even though he's saying that they made it back to Indiana and that's when she went on foot and walked out and disappeared. Police haven't been able to confirm that she even made it to Georgia. All right. It says here, but Xavier Breland, 37, did not report his 31-year-old wife missing until a day later. She was also a well-respected lawyer in the area. Ciera has not been seen in more than a month, but now it's been a lot of months because we're in September. Her family is devastated, saying she had planned to leave her husband, whom they said was physically and emotionally abusive. Breland threatened several times to kill her and had regularly attacked her, Ciera's cousin said. So let me just pull up this clip right here. Just joining now. I am going to do towards the end of the article, I am going to do a recap, a timeline recap. So if you're just joining, don't worry too much, or you could rewind it too. So it also goes on to say that he had shoved her into things. He would throw things at her when she was pregnant and when she was holding the baby. Damn. He hit her in the face with a gun. He bashed her head into a window while they were driving. He threatened to kill her and screamed at her, Campbell said. Breland is the sole person of interest in his wife's disappearance, police have said. No one has been charged in Ciera's disappearance. He is currently being held without bail in Coweta County, Georgia, on charges of aggravated stalking, violating a protection order, and sending harassing communication to his ex-wife. According to court records, he has two children with that woman, ages 6 and 10, with the Georgia woman. Xavier's alleged history of violence extends to his ex-wife, authorities say. And so it says that Breland was arrested in Indiana after reporting Ciera missing and extradited to Georgia based on an arrest warrant issued February 24th when Breland failed to appear for an arraignment in the stalking case. According to online records, he had previously pleaded not guilty to those charges. One of the allegations involving his ex-wife is that he placed a tracking device inside a stuffed animal he gave to the couple's daughter and made harassing phone calls to the woman despite a court order banning him from communicating with her, authorities said. His court-appointed defense attorney has now responded to several requests for comment from the Inside Edition. FBI has offered $10,000 reward money. Oh, here it is. Here's the creepy stuff, right? And this is right now pertaining to these, what he did with this stuffed pink animal thing. This is The stalking charges stem from a custody battle Xavier was engaged with the woman he was married to before Ciera. According to court documents, Xavier gave his 5-year-old daughter a pink stuffed animal with a GPS tracker sewn inside, knowing that she would be staying with her mom. The girl's mother picked up the animal the next day and felt something inside. When she cut it open, the animal, she found a GPS tracker, according to court documents. The GPS tracker was similar to the one that was placed on the woman's car. Both devices were registered to Xavier's email address. According to his ex-wife, he showed her the missing persons and said, "This could be you." He threatened her by saying her children would visit her grave. Okay. According to his ex-wife, he showed her missing persons and said, "This could be you." He threatened her, saying her children would visit her grave. Investigators also allege that Xavier sent threatening messages, including her address, which wasn't supposed to be known. Some members of Ciera's family attended Xavier's bond hearing earlier this week. He just walked in smiling and winking, so confident and arrogant, Bush said. It was just hard for us to wrap around our head. Let me play this little clip here.
Fox.
That's with that. And so this too, I'm going to play this too, since we're on the topic, so we can kind of talk about, because it says the husband of a woman who has been missing since February has been found not guilty on a separate stalking case. So the separate stalking case, he was found not guilty, but the reason he's still locked up, and this is, again, I reached out to True Crime Replay. This is what I was told. Supposedly he owes, because he was transferred, I believe. Supposedly he owes $47,000 in Fulton County, so he was transferred there. These are new charges for a different stalking incident against the same victim. Fulton County brought these new charges a couple of days ago, and his bond hearing was yesterday. This is an old post, but she shared it to me. He's being held without bond and is being tried for stalking again. Dude seems to have some serious issues. Weird, controlling, issues. I don't know how, how was he found not guilty? I don't know. And that's kind of the, who knows what was presented in court, but like, that's the problem too with these situations. Like when you're going through something, if you're gonna, like, I don't know, like you're doing a protection order or whatever, that stuff doesn't keep you safe. It's good for documentation purposes. It's good, but that's about it. Person gets, a lot of times those people violate those orders. They still come. I think it's good to do it, and you might want to get yourself a gun, because then if something happens, well, you got this whole history of documented stuff, and if somebody comes and you have to defend yourself, well, hey, this is all the proof that I have of what happened. You know what I'm saying? But that stuff, man, these people always violate that stuff. They don't really ever, dance. Oh, hey, Dan. Dan says it was a technicality. I think Dan's been covering the story too, because I know he's in the Facebook group for True Crime Replay. These people get away with all kinds of shit. I'm telling you, it seems like the criminals got more rights, they do, than victims in the general public. So let me play this. Just keep in mind, he was found guilty on the separate one, but then they got him for something else. But I think in this clip you can see, I think his attorney speaking.
Person of interest in a widely followed missing persons case found not guilty.
He bumped the volume for you guys. And if you guys could hit like too, I'd appreciate that. This is kind of like a lesser known case, so when you hit like, it really helps the videos, like in the algorithm, to spread out. And then also, I don't know, people are telling me they're not getting notifications from my lives. I don't comment in the chat, tell me if you're getting notifications or not.
Xavier Breland Jr.
Let me bump it up
reported
here.
his wife Ciera missing in February. Since then, police have called him a person of interest in that, and another woman accused him of stalking. Channel 2 investigative reporter Mark Winnie live in Buckhead following this. And Mark, for the first time in an on-camera interview, Xavier's attorney talking about the missing persons case as well as his acquittal for stalking.
Yes, and we're here because a short while ago we interviewed Xavier Breland Jr.'s lawyer in his office, not just about, as you said, his acquittal in one case, but it also gave us a chance to talk about Breland's side of another higher profile matter involving his missing wife.
The jury came back very quickly with a not guilty verdict.
What was Xavier Breland Jr.'s reaction?
He was very emotional. He showed a lot of emotion because this has been some very hard times for him.
His attorney says while Xavier Breland Jr. has been in the news a lot this year, for 3 days this week, he was in a Coweta County courtroom where Thursday he was found not guilty on an aggravated stalking charge.
He felt that he's been vilified throughout this process unfairly. And
he's being vilified. Isn't that crazy?
He has, and it was good to get a little bit of justice. Yep.
Defense lawyer Brian Howard says it was a quick acquittal in a case involving allegations Breland had placed a tracking device in a stuffed animal belonging to one of 2 children he had with the former Brittany Lusk, for whom a Fulton County judge had issued a restraining order against Breland.
We had a fair jury.
Breland has been in the news because of another woman. Johns Creek Police Chief Mark Mitchell said Xavier Breland remains. Brittany Lusk, for whom a Fulton County judge had issued a restraining order against Breland.
We had a fair jury.
Breland has been in the news because of another woman. Johns Creek Police Chief Mark Mitchell said Xavier Breland remains what he has been since late February, a person of interest in the disappearance of his wife, attorney Ciera Breland. Howard says Xavier Breland Jr. is innocent in connection with the disappearance.
He's cooperated with the police. He's made statements to the police and told them that he had nothing to do with her disappearance, and has tried to help them in any way possible.
Her parents earlier this year.
Do I pray about it? All the time. 24/7.
What do you pray?
Just we find out, we find her.
I don't believe she'll be coming back to us.
The chief says Breland reported her missing in Indiana, where the couple had moved from Georgia, but her last confirmed sighting other than by Xavier Breland was in Johns Creek. Our detectives are still working, trying to run down any leads, the official said. Right now, we continue to need the public's help. Attorney Howard says the DA's office did not oppose his request to keep the missing person case out of the Coweta County trial because it might prejudice a jury.
It's important that everyone keeps an open mind.
I think it's important context. For sure. Why keep it out? One woman is saying all this crazy, alleged crazy shit this guy's doing, and then the next woman is missing. Yeah, we should talk about that. Yeah, that shit should be in court. Yeah, the jury should see that shit.
When allegations are made.
Howard says Breland Jr. has a pending aggravated stalking case in Fulton County, which he hopes will be dismissed because the evidence in that case was aired in the Coweta trial.
Is not guilty.
And Lusk still has a permanent protective order against Breland issued by a Fulton County judge.
Has he committed domestic violence against anyone?
He has not.
The lawyer says he hopes to clear
Well,
up some
denying.
of Breland's pending legal matters and have him out of jail in days.
You can be accused of whatever, but you get your day in court. And then in court, that's when you have to bring in the evidence.
Now, we communicated with the former Brittany Lusk through text and by phone. She told us to...
That's what I'm saying. That thing in court, I don't see why they should not, they should present that. I don't know if they did or not, but they should present that because that's just context, I think. And it could show a history.
Say yesterday's ruling was a disappointment is an understatement. She said, I'm going to keep fighting for my right to be protected. She said the Coweta County judge indicated he would sign a protective order for her in that county. Reporting live.
All right. So, yeah, I wanted to show you guys that clip, too, so you can see a little bit of maybe his side or his attorney speaking. Oh, the other thing, too. So I just wanted to show you this real quick, and then we'll get back to the original article. As far as his history and stuff. This is, so we know about the not guilty thing, but he's still arrested on a separate charge. This was August 11, 2022. The charge stemmed back from March 2021 incident in Georgia when documents say he hid a tracking device to stalk the mother of his child. At the time, the woman he was accused of stalking had a restraining order against him. After being arrested and released, Breland allegedly violated the restraining order again, and a warrant was issued for his arrest. He was booked into the Coweta County Jail in Georgia on March 16th after being extradited from Hamilton County Jail. It's not the first time he's been extradited. Court records say he was arrested in 2007 on a fugitive warrant in Florida. So is Florida. And sent back to Indiana. That's what I was kind of wondering, too, about this whole Florida thing. What happened there? Failure to appear for aggravated stalking, harassing phone calls, and family violation order. Okay. We're going to get to this Zoom thing in a second. Let's go back. I really like this article because it had like a lot of the information. So we got the $10,000 reward for information leading to Ciera's whereabouts. Police in Carmel, Indiana, where the couple lived, are working with police in Johns Creek, Georgia, where the couple had visited their families before they disappeared. Breland's husband reported her missing on February 26th to the Carmel Police Department in Indiana. However, there is no evidence that Breland ever returned home after their family trip to Georgia, the FBI said in its reward announcement. So they got no proof. They can't corroborate what the husband is saying. The last location that they confirmed was at the husband's mother's home, Rochelle. Campbell said her family now believes that Ciera never made it out of Georgia. The last confirmed sighting of her was on February 24th in surveillance video showing her standing outside of her mother-in-law's suburban Atlanta home. We all told her to leave him, Campbell said. We didn't like what we were seeing. She's very smart. She never put up with anything from anyone. We all told her she had a safe place to go. Ciera Breland suffered at her husband's hands before she vanished, her family says. Ciera's parents and Campbell said Ciera had planned to leave her husband of about 1 year during the couple's trip to Georgia. She had been secretly saving money, Campbell said, and he was going to move in with her family. She had not told Xavier. She had no intentions of going back to Indiana. The couple had moved out about a year ago to Indiana, where Xavier's father lived. Campbell said Ciera had legally assisted Xavier in his and this is just so crazy to me. Like, so just some of the freaking. So Ciera had legally assisted Xavier in his dispute with his ex-wife, according to online records. You know, she probably, I don't know, who knows what he told her. Maybe she was wrapped up in, in love with this guy, trying to help him out. And so she's helping this guy against the ex-wife that had made all these allegations against him. And now she's missing. She's missing. How crazy is that, right? The legal battle became heated in Georgia, and the newly married Xavier and Ciera decided to head north to get away from the turmoil to turn over a new leaf, Campbell said. Ciera got a new job in an Indiana law firm, and Campbell, who said she and her cousin were best friends, began getting texts that disturbed her. And who knows what kind of stories this guy could have been. Check your DMs. Who knows what kind of stories this guy could have been. Cheeks, you said check my DMs. I mean, I don't know. I have so many DMs. Which specific DM are you talking about? Facebook, Discord, Twitter, email. Not sure what that means. Okay. He kind of threw me off too. I shouldn't have read the chat. Where is that here? Okay. The legal battle became heated in Georgia, and the newly married Xavier and Ciera decided to head north to get away from the turmoil and turn over a new leaf, Campbell said. Ciera got a new job in an Indiana law firm, and Campbell, who said she and her cousins were best friends, began getting texts that disturbed her. In August, Campbell said Ciera texted her saying her husband is nuts. If anything happens to me, he is responsible. Ciera also had a burner phone besides her personal cell phone and her work phone. She kept it in case she needed to call for help. All right. That whole story of like this guy just check your AOL. Oh, yeah, so Twitter then. All right, hold on a second. Sent a photo. Okay. Thank you. And true crime, if she has time when we get towards the end of this, thank you guys. When we get to the end of this, if she has time to talk, I'll call her too if she wants to answer some questions or clarify things, because she's the one that's been covering this thing. Let me show you guys this message and then we'll continue. This is with regards to, I think, the warrants and stuff. Let's see. Bear with me 1 second. And there's still like a lot to go through, guys. So this, that. Okay, so this is the first DM message here. It says the DA's office dropped the ball. They were so certain that Xavier would take their plea that they waited to subpoena any of their key witnesses until the last minute. When he didn't take their plea, they had literally 24 hours to scramble. Even though they've known this was coming for months, their negligence meant that the warrant that got XB arrested for the crime wouldn't be explained to the jury because the company that sells the tracker wasn't subpoenaed. It's basically the most effed up thing ever. I don't know how they messed that up. How do you mess that up? The victim had 1 day notice of the trial despite contacting the DA often and being reassured that he would take the plea so it wouldn't go to trial. Not all the witnesses could be present because there wasn't proper notice. The warrant wasn't able to be heard, and not all the evidence was presented because it was too late. However, the judge did grant her a protective order, so the judge knows what's up. If he wasn't guilty, why wouldn't the judge do that? Makes me wonder if the DA wasn't paid to do a ishty job. Just my 2 cents. Damn, bro. Let me sidetrack 1 second too, just real quick, because when we were talking about this on Twitter in Spaces, the people that have been on my channel for a long time, you probably remember this story that I covered. You remember this story about this, and just sidetracking, just talking about this whole protective order. These people, victims, they're not protected. Nobody really listens at times, it seems like, and they're just neglected and shoved under. But there was a story about this mom and her 3 sons that were killed and burned in a house, right? And she had literally, before that incident, she had previously, I don't know if it was like a protective order or like some sort of whatever. She reported and she was trying to get protection from this guy. And it says defendant vandalized property and has threatened to burn the house down with me in it. He also threatened me in front of his children that if I try and stop him from damaging my I don't know what was going to be the next. And he took his painter finger in front of the kids, blah, blah, blah. This guy, you know what he ends up doing? Just like this woman reported. Burns the entire house down with the kids inside. They're all dead. I even had a family member reach out to me recently because I think this guy, I believe, was finally found like guilty. Not only that, this guy, after he burned this damn house down and he went to work. He did, I don't know exactly. I think it was like they found a burnt mattress or something. I don't know what he did. But after the place is burned down and he gets the call, he comes rushing from work and the people are like, oh my God, what happened? He's like, oh, I don't know what happened. They're giving this guy hugs. They're hugging him and the community's coming in because they don't know. They even do a prayer circle. And this guy's standing in the damn prayer circle. Crazy ass story. So it just made me think, because when we were talking about like Ciera, it's just really unfortunate, like with the ex and stuff, when all these like warning signs are coming up and nobody really listens. And like literally this guy's saying allegedly to this ex-wife that, hey, this could be you, and shows her a missing flyer, and then the current wife is missing. Okay, so let's get back to this. Okay, so in August, Campbell said Ciera texted her saying her husband is nuts. I read that already. If anything happens to me, he is responsible. Ciera also had a burner phone besides her personal cell phone and her work phone, which she kept in case she needed to call for help. I'm really scared. I don't know what to do. Ciera texted her cousin using the abbreviation I don't know, Campbell said. Campbell says she has turned her cell phone, which contains Ciera's text and videos she sent to document her husband's alleged abuse, over to investigators. The police are keeping a lot to themselves. He has threatened to kill her multiple times and throw her in a lake somewhere. Wow. I didn't even read that part. We don't have any information about where she may be. Authorities have said they will release additional information as it becomes available, and there have been no updates in recent weeks. Ciera's fateful trip to Georgia began when she and Xavier loaded their baby and their big dog into Ciera's 2017 white Volkswagen and made the 11-hour drive south. Ciera arrived at her parents' house on February 19. According to her family, she stayed the night visiting with relatives who hadn't seen her since she moved to Indiana. Damn, I didn't know that part either. So they were both living in Georgia, and I guess I don't know whose idea it was. I thought it was Xavier's, but I'm not sure. To separate from family, from friends, everything. Let's go to this other state. And then apparently now, she hadn't even seen her family since she moved. Okay. She had also told all of us she was moving back to Georgia, her cousin said. Ciera's mother, Kelly. Let me see. So Ciera's mother and father is Nick and Kelly. So the mother, Kelly, said her daughter was planning to come home and find a new job. She said, "Mom, I'm coming home. We're going to say we're going to visit with you guys and his mom, but I'm never going back to Indiana," the mom told NBC's Dateline last month. She also told her parents that her husband's abusive behavior was getting worse and that she was getting a divorce. "We were having about a month, maybe 2 months of discussions amongst the two of us, and that she was coming home permanently. She was leaving him. She was getting a divorce," Kelly told the local news station. But the parents never heard from Ciera again after she left their home on February 20th, saying she was going to her mother-in-law's to pick up Jackson, her son, and would be back, the family said. Campbell said one of the last texts she received from her cousin, "I'm at Xavier's mom's house. He won't give me Jackson, so I'm waiting to get him so I can leave." The next information about Ciera came 6 days after she left her parents' home on February 26. The Carmel police in Indiana phoned to say she had been reported missing by her husband. Campbell said her family was shocked. They thought Ciera was still in Georgia, though she hadn't answered their texts in recent days, which was very unusual for her. What's completely baffling, Campbell said, is that he didn't call anyone to check on her. He didn't reach out to anyone. He didn't make us aware at all. That's weird as shit to me too. That's weird. I'm living with somebody. We got a kid together. I'm going to know that other person's family. Yeah. And if she goes missing, the mother of my child, yeah, I'm going to call and be like, "Hey, I don't know what's going on." She, whatever, especially if we're together. You didn't call? You didn't think maybe you should give a call? Ciera's father, Nick, in Atlanta last week, that after speaking with Carmel police, he called his daughter's cell phone and her husband answered. Damn. "I said, Xavier, tell me the truth. What's going on?" Ciera told me, "If anything happened to her, you were responsible, so tell me the truth." And he told me to go to hell and hung up. From the beginning, Xavier Breland's actions concerned Ciera's family. Campbell said her cousin met Xavier Breland on Tinder, which, for the people that just joined, we're going to do a small recap after this article, the timeline, courtesy of TCR. It was extremely quick. They met in October 2020, and they were married 6 months later. Damn. She already knew she was pregnant, her cousin said. So married and pregnant within 6 months and met on Tinder. And we're going to talk about that social media stuff too, because this guy apparently had a bunch of different accounts. Let me just show you right now. This was courtesy of True Crime Replay. But like, this guy was going on, and I believe while he was married. This, I didn't even realize this is like a Tinder profile thing. And he went under a different name, Amari. Tinder. What else we got? We got Match. What was on Match? All right. I don't really know what that is, but like what social thing this is, but Amari. Okay. I was playing the game on social media, on the dating sites, and that's how he met her, on Tinder. Trouble began quickly as well, Campbell said. Xavier became increasingly aggressive and jealous, the cousin said. Ciera was alarmed and tried to end their relationship, but later said she loved him and wanted to hold her new family together. He'd always come back saying, "I'm sorry. I promise I will be better." It's just that I love you so much. I can't live without you. Please give me another chance. After Xavier was arrested on the stalking charge and extradited to Georgia, he participated in a video court hearing 2 weeks ago before a Fulton County judge in an ongoing civil custody dispute involving the children he had with his ex-wife. The mother was seeking to terminate all contact between Xavier and the two children, including virtual video visits, saying the father was a danger to his children. Judge Alex Manning viewed in a court video of a previous visit between Xavier and the children, in which he tells the boy and the girl that their stepmother has been kidnapped and won't return. The children became visibly upset. So it says Judge Alex Manning viewed in court a video of a previous visit between Xavier and the children, in which he tells the boy and girl that their stepmother has been kidnapped and won't return. I don't know. It's just a weird way to. Did he have to do it on video? I guess it's just weird. What I saw in that video was heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking, said Judge Manning. The little girl falls apart in 2 minutes into uncontrollably sobbing. I mean, I don't know. There couldn't have been a better way to do this. It goes from she's missing to she's kidnapped, the judge said, explaining what she heard Breland say to his children. That video was not played for the full court. This conversation seems to escalate to now, nope, she's been kidnapped. Do you know what that means? She's never coming back. And I don't know how you know that, but you seem to know she's never coming back. And it's just traumatizing these children over and over again, Manning said to Breland, CBS reported.
About the disappearance of his wife, says she's been kidnapped, and that is dramatically different from what he told police.
Channel 2 investigative reporter Mark Winnie is live in Johns Creek, and Mark, the FBI offered a reward up to $10,000 for information that leads to where this woman is.
So a big question is, how would Xavier Breland Jr. know if his wife had been kidnapped, that she wasn't?
If you're wondering about the ages, so Ciera, I have that she's 31. She was 31 at the time, and Xavier was 37 at the time.
Coming home, why would he tell one or two of Ciera Locklear Breland's stepkids somebody took her, especially in light of what a Johns Creek police captain told us?
Somebody kidnapped my wife. Do you know what that means when they kidnap an adult? She's not coming home, but we have a 5-month-old son.
What did Xavier Breland tell?
Not coming home, an adult. What that means? Somebody kidnapped my wife. Do you know what that means when they kidnap an adult? She's not coming home, but
You can literally hear I have headphones on. I'll bump the volume up a little bit, but you can literally hear like the kid like crying or whatever. They're not showing the whole video. I guess this is just like a snippet or whatever. But
she's not coming home, but
yeah, you can hear it in the background. It's just really loud.
We have a 5-month-old son.
What did Xavier Breland tell police in Indiana when he reported Ciera Locklear Breland missing?
That she had just walked away from the residence the night before.
He did not say she was kidnapped.
No, according to Carmel, Indiana Police Department, that's correct. That's not what was passed on to us.
A contact who says she is close to the mother of two of Xavier Breland Jr.'s children says the Zoom call was video visitation between Breland and the kids, allowed under a Fulton County judge's permanent order of protection, protecting that mother from Breland. Our contact says it was recorded February 28th, roughly 2 days after Breland had reported another woman in his life. Lawyer Ciera.
Wait, was it 2 days after this happened, this video?
Says it was recorded protection protecting that mother from Breland. Our contact says it was recorded February 28th, roughly 2 days after Breland had reported another woman in his life. Lawyer Ciera Locklear Breland, the kid's stepmom, missing. A missing persons case in which Xavier Breland Jr. has been named a person of interest.
But she's my best friend. She's my wife.
The Zoom recording frequently switches between images of the man our contact identifies as Breland.
He's been missing for about 4 days.
And the children, but we are not showing the children.
I called the police, and the police came to the house, and They did a search warrant on the house, on both of the cars. They brought the dogs to try to sniff for her and find her.
Our contact says she provided the video partly because Breland's suggestion to the children that Ciera had been kidnapped
Somebody took her.
raises questions about how he would know that in light of what police have released.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because it was like, I think they said the 28th. So she was last seen on the 24th. He reported her missing on the 26th. And then 2 days later on the 28th, he's on a video call with the kids telling them she's kidnapped. When his original story is her claiming that she just walked off. Unless he's trying to say she got kidnapped when she walked off.
Though she acknowledges at one point he suggests he knows something is really wrong because Ciera would not have willingly left without a third child, the 5-month-old son he had with Ciera.
He is in our custody right now at the Coweta County Sheriff's Office jail.
The Coweta County Sheriff's Office says Breland was extradited from Indiana. Records show a Coweta aggravated stalking indictment. The alleged victim is not Ciera and not guilty plea.
I'm going to find my wife. Okay?
At this point, Xavier Breland Jr. not charged with a crime in connection with Ciera's disappearance.
That's correct. Just a person of interest at this point.
Johns Creek Police Captain Todd Hood told us the last sighting of Ciera confirmed by police was in Johns Creek.
My heart is broken.
Now, we've made several efforts to try to get Breland's side, including trying to reach defense attorneys by phone and email. We went to an address we understand is for a relative of his today. Go away, said a voice that seemed to come from the other side of the front door.
Wow.
You're on camera. We'd like an explanation about what Xavier Breland Jr. said on camera via Zoom. Live in Johns Creek, Mark Winnie.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting too. Show that that Zoom, some of that Zoom conversation. So it says here the father's attorney issued a statement to CBS 46, which misspelled the missing woman's first name. That's interesting. The family attorney couldn't get the name right, I guess. I mean, mistakes happen, but like, I don't know. The spouse is always the first person the police look at in a disappearance, but in this case, Mr. Breland had nothing to do with Ciera's disappearance. Mr. Breland is devastated by her disappearance, which he reported to the police, and if he wasn't incarcerated and on an unrelated matter, he would be helping to look for Ciera. Manning granted the mother's request to end contact between the children and their father, according to local reports. Amazing. Only takes a missing woman. Fearing the worst, Ciera Breland's family focuses on getting justice. Campbell said she has no hope that her cousin will ever come home. Campbell has pushed away her feelings of grief until she knows exactly what happened to the woman whose void grows bigger by the day. I talk to her all the time. We were extremely close. I can't imagine her coming back. Knowing her and how she is with her son, she wouldn't stay away an hour, let alone a month, which now we're going on, I don't know how many months. 6 months? Almost, 6, 7 months. But allowing her thoughts to go beyond that is just not something Campbell can do right now. It's just not something that's really sunk in. It's such a disconnect. I'm just waiting for her to call me so I can say, oh my God, you would not believe what's going on here. Then reality intrudes. We don't have any answers and there's nothing we can do about it, Campbell. It's frustrating to not have any options. So this was by the Inside Edition. I really, really liked this article because it just had a lot of the information and it allowed me to kind of
new developments tonight.
Segue in between with video clips and everything else. There's actually, there's still quite a few things I want to show you, but let's get this is news. Oh, I got to fix this. I have to fix this from yesterday. News Nation. If I could show it. So weird. Yeah, I don't know why it's not working properly there. Hold on a second. There we go. All right, sorry about that. So News Nation did a coverage on this as well, and I think her parents spoke. 23rd. This was way back at the beginning of the year.
Ford is live for us in Johns Creek, Georgia tonight. Janelle, you spoke to Ciera's parents. This was their first on-camera interview since their daughter's disappearance.
Yeah, Marty, and I asked them why they hadn't done any one-on-one interviews like this up until this point. And they told me that it's because they didn't want to step on the toes of the investigators in this case. But as we're approaching nearly a month since Ciera's disappearance, and they hope that someone will watch this and be persuaded.
And it becomes solidified in your mind that she's definitely not coming back and ever. And that her son's never going to see his mother, and we're never going to see our daughter.
You can hear the pain and hurt in their voices. It's been nearly a month since Nick and Kelly Locklear last saw their daughter, 31-year-old Ciera Breland, vanishing without a trace.
Now that it's almost a month, do you guys still have hope that she's alive?
If she were alive, she would have been home.
Last month, Ciera and her husband Xavier Breland, pup, 5-month-old baby boy Jackson, drove the 550 or so miles from their home in Carmel, Indiana, to Georgia to visit both of their parents. First, stopping in Johns Creek, just outside of Atlanta, to see Xavier's mom.
She had been giving me messages. Like we said, she did not plan to go back to Indiana. She was planning on staying. But she had said that she needed to make it a kind of a surprise for him.
Then, Ciera and the baby drove alone about an hour to her parents' home in Cleveland, Georgia.
Ciera came here February
19th, Saturday, and left on the 20th.
and that was the last time you guys saw her.
Yes.
6 days later, a call from Carmel, Indiana police.
He said, your daughter's been reported missing. And I said, miss in Indiana? And he said, yes. As Xavier called and said that she left last night.
According to Xavier, Ciera left their home in the middle of a cold winter night wearing just a t-shirt and shorts, leaving behind her keys, wallet, car, and her baby boy, and didn't return.
She would not have left that child.
The Locklayers described their daughter as bright-eyed and ambitious, a daddy's girl who worked hard, eventually fulfilling her dream of becoming a lawyer. But her behavior began to change about a year ago, shortly after relocating to Indiana with her husband. Then, allegations of abuse.
There was actually an officer that had been called out to their house one night that said he was a specialist in domestic violence, and he literally said, he's not telling the truth, she's not telling the truth, she's not letting him take the consequences for his actions, so we can't do anything about it.
Which that happens a lot of times too. People will try to protect the person that's abusing them, or they're made to feel guilty, and that person's like, I'm sorry, I won't do it again, and give me another chance, and then you feel horrible and blah blah blah. And I've been there where the other person got arrested, and even though I didn't do anything, it was the other person, I just felt guilty. I don't even know why. They're the ones that physically did something to me. They even called the cops on themselves. I didn't even call the cops. They called the cops on themselves. And for whatever reason, I felt guilty at the time. And I actually didn't press charges, which I in hindsight, I probably should have, but yeah.
But I'm going to tell you, this is escalating so fast that something really bad is going to happen to her very soon.
Xavier is the sole person of interest in this case, which took a turn starting with police discovering the last trace of Ciera is on home security footage from Xavier's mom's home in Johns Creek, dated February 24th.
That's the last known location that anybody's actually been able to see her that we know of at this point.
Johns Creek Police Captain Todd Hood says they aren't releasing the footage yet, but they plastered billboards and flyers across the city, asking the public for any information that might help.
So somebody knows something, we're begging them to come forward at this point and give us just some information as to where she is or maybe what's happening.
When we went to the home to see if Xavier's family had anything to say about the investigation, the woman inside yelled repeatedly for us to go away.
Hi, I'm with News Nation.
Damn, News Nation pulling up. I didn't know they did that.
Xavier is currently back in Georgia, booked in the Ciera County Jail on unrelated aggravated stalking charges against another woman. Ciera's parents say it appears he's no longer cooperating with detectives, leaving them feeling hopeless about finding their baby girl.
Devastated. There's nothing like this. And whether we'll ever know or not, we think about that as a reality. But I can't imagine this devastation ever going away. That feeling of loss, I don't see you ever get over it.
And you hear the parents, and it's just hard to fathom the heartbreak that they're experiencing. And Marnie, the FBI now has a $10,000 reward out for any information that leads to Ciera's whereabouts.
It's devastating even to hear that they don't think she's alive. You rarely hear families say that, to lose hope at this point. You mentioned he's behind bars. She's obviously missing. Where's the baby?
Well, the baby is still in Carmel, Indiana, with Xavier's father, his grandfather. The Locklayers say that the baby is in good hands, but that they are working with Child Protective Services in Indiana, trying to get baby Jackson back here to Georgia and in their.
So with the father, Xavier's father, I think they said, right? I hope that I don't know if the father, and this would be a good question for True Crime Replay if you're watching. And I DM'd you True Crime Replay. I don't know if you're able to talk for a little bit. If you want to, I can call you so people can maybe ask questions. And because the thing is, and we're going to get into this now, Xavier's mother and sister in that home where Ciera was last confirmed seen. And I also wonder, is the father with the mother still, or are they separated? Maybe they're separated. I don't know. Because I would be concerned if that baby's in that household where his mother was last seen. So we got that. This is the area here on the map. Just kind of like I just highlighted the general area, but the address is on court documents and stuff like that. But it's in the Highgate Manor Court area of where she was last seen, the home, mother-in-law, Johns Creek High School. This is John Creek's area, I guess. And so, I mean, it's just a lot of if he did do something, I mean, Lord knows where would they even begin. And that's what I was wondering too. I mean, they must have tracked his cell phone and GPS, but I don't know, and her devices. Why would she leave all those devices? Something happened to her. She didn't just walk off and leave all those 3 phones behind, especially the emergency phone, and not tell anybody. She didn't just walk off. I don't know what happened, but she didn't just walk off and leave all her shit, her purse, everything, all that stuff behind. The other thing, let's touch on this. Okay, I can call her now too. Our phone number. And this is, let me do this real quick. Let's do a small little quick cap. And this is True Crime Replay. I mean, she did such a really good job with this timeline map. I love it. True Crime Replay. I put the link to her Twitter and the Facebook group and page in the description. But just a quick little, summary for the people that just joined late. So October 2020, Xavier and Ciera met on Tinder. 6 months later, they get married. In 2021, they moved to Carmel, Indiana. I'm going to get these 2 parts after. Saturday, February 19, 2022, Xavier and the baby made it to her parents, Nick and Kelly's house, and stayed until Sunday. So when they went to Georgia, they went to Ciera's parents, okay? And stayed until Sunday, the 20th. The next stop would be an hour away at Xavier's mother's house in Johns Creek, Georgia. So I'm assuming the father doesn't live there, but we're going to talk to her too. Not the mother, but True Crime Replay. It also says here, at 11:17 p.m., Ciera texted her father, Nick, and said, I'll be back in the morning if that's okay, Nick said. And I said, of course it's okay. You don't have to ask. So that shows intention of her coming back, not just disappearing, February 22nd, when he hadn't heard from Ciera, Nick said he reached back out to her and said everything was okay, but that she had been feeling a little sick. Okay. February 23rd, Nick said he reached out again, the father, asking Ciera how was she feeling. He didn't get a response. That's on the 23rd. And get this on here. February 24th, Nick texted again with no response. February 26th, see below. February 28th, Xavier, let me do that. So February 26th, see below. Nick got a call from Indiana police who informed him that Ciera was missing. He then called Xavier to get answers and got nowhere. He said he called. Then he said he then called Xavier's father, who lives right next door to Ciera, and Xavier and Carmel. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, there we go. Question answer right there. He said, no, I never saw her, Nick said. Okay. And on the 28th, Xavier tells the kids on video call that Ciera was kidnapped. So that's just like a kind of like a quick, it's a nice timeline, quick recap of everything we've pretty much talked about. Between the 19th and the 26th, Ciera, her husband, and Ciera Breland Jr., the 5-month-old son, and her white Labradoodle went on a trip. We know that. Visiting family in Cleveland, Georgia, from Carmel, Indiana. Okay. So the other thing too, and I'm going to call her right now, and we can talk about these next court documents. I'm going to call True Crime Replay. Now we're going to segue into Xavier's mother and Xavier's sister and the issues they had in that home, which is kind of odd. A little weird. Let me call. Okay.
Hey, Mel.
Hey, how you doing? Thank you so much for, first of all, thank you for all the pictures and like the documents you sent me and for the help. I appreciate that and what you're doing.
Yeah, of course. I'm just glad that she's getting some coverage. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah. So the father, Xavier's father lives, it says right next door to them, according to that picture?
So Xavier's parents are divorced. He was last seen at Rochelle's house, which is in Georgia, and his dad lives in Carmel, Indiana.
Okay.
So that was where the confusion is.
Okay. This document here, the Magistrate Court of Fulton County, and this is Rochelle is Xavier's mother and Crystal is Xavier's sister. So the mother against her own daughter, what is she doing? Suing her here? It says damages to real and personal property and failure to pay household bills. And the date on this?
This is where it gets
after she's missing?
It gets interesting.
Okay.
This was filed 2 days after she went missing. 2 days after. This was March 26th, I want to say. So what happens is the police obviously get involved. Everyone is looking at Rochelle's house because that is the last place that she was seen missing. And Crystal, his sister, actually doesn't want anything to do with it and moves out of the house pretty much immediately, which is when Rochelle, Xavier's mom, actually goes ahead and sues her for damages. In one of the slides, it actually goes into what those damages were. Some were irrelevant, like damages to the bathroom, but allegedly one of the damages is regarding to the carpet being cut up, but that was actually supposedly related to the police doing their investigation into Ciera and actually had nothing to do with Crystal.
So this says it was filed 3/28. Is that right? So like a month after then?
Oh, a month after.
A month after, okay. And it says here too, $10,000 pet urine and feces and carpet smelled throughout house and damages to personal and real property. 3/28. And so the mother, Xavier's mother, sued her own daughter. And you said she actually won the money? The lawsuit?
Yeah, actually, she ends up winning on default because there's some of the letters that I sent to you after that where Crystal is writing to the court that she's afraid to provide her address because her mom is insane, essentially, to water it down. But she goes into specific parts about her and her mom's relationship and why she's afraid of revealing that information. So she kept missing court dates and asking for extensions because she no longer lived at the address where they were sending some of those notifications to. And she was concerned about providing an updated address.
Okay. And it says here to this counterclaim thing here says, this is my mother. We vacated her home 4/21/2022 as originally planned. She wants $10,000 because she paid $13,000 to my brother's ex, and mother of his kids attorney so they would release him from jail. CSI came, cut her carpet and mattress, what you were saying, cut her mattress because my sister-in-law, Ciera Breland, is missing after residing in her home with their dog. Between 2/14 and 2/24/2022. And then it says, my dog peed on the carpet once out of fear of their dog, which I shampooed on the carpet. I reglazed her tub, and I did 3 years ago, and she turned the water on.
Yeah, so to clarify, like, I know we blocked out the addresses, but they were sending these notifications about this lawsuit to Rochelle's own house, but addressed towards her daughter who moved out. So her daughter kept not getting these notifications.
So she wasn't even living there at the time, but they're sending it to the mother's house because they think she's living there.
Yeah, so actually what they're essentially saying is his mom ended up coughing up a ton of money to be able to have a lawyer for Xavier, and this was kind of her way to try and cash in some of that money back and recoup it, which is what Crystal was trying to explain, is that she doesn't think it has anything to do with the damages she caused when she lived there, but this is retaliatory.
So the reason this damages happen is because, is it because, like she's saying, CSI came out and cut the carpet? Do you know when they did that? Cut her carpet and mattress?
I don't have a specific date, but it was supposedly right after. There were other comments of neighbors when this investigation was happening that it was pretty much immediately after she was reported missing, as soon as they figured out that the last known location was in Georgia and not in Indiana.
And then Jacqueline was somebody asked, let's see what Sanchi says, but why didn't she want to provide her current address? And I think that's what you said, like she was afraid to give her address, I guess, because what the
actually I don't know if you still have the letter, but she writes a really long letter describing exactly what it is.
Oh, okay. Let me see. You sent it to me?
Again. Yeah, it was one of the papers.
Oh, yeah. Okay, hold on. No. Which one? Oh. Now I see it. Yes, I missed it before. Okay, let me download this and save it. And let me just one second. Let me just redact her phone number. I think her phone number's on here.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna. I think it's just phone number and email. That's all I need to take out. Okay. Let me open this back up now. Let's see. Okay. So it says here, good morning, Judge. I just received notice 5/11/2022 that the court appearance date was 5/10/2022 and asked that we please reschedule so that I can be present. I wish to file a notice of appeal due to missing the court date as I removed my family from the location of my mother's residence 4/21/2022 and do wish to appear in court or via Zoom to submit my evidence and dispute her false claims of damages, requesting $10,000 and her being granted $1,000. Furthermore, We never had a landlord-tenant relationship of any kind, agreement for rent, nor bills to be paid by me, verbal or written. I would like to continue with my counterclaim of harassment, asking her to pay $10,000 for putting my 3 kids, fiance, and I with my unborn baby through emotional stress since moving in, and it getting worse due to me failing to agree to pay any money towards my brother Xavier. Owed court fees of $13,000 on 3/26/2022 to help him get released from jail due to an aggravated stalking case against my ex-sister-in-law, Brittany. And that's the ex-wife. I'm 38 years old and pregnant, and she is overwhelming, a pathological liar, very vindictive and calculating. Yet she is my mother, and I do seek for her to have help and or guidance as soon as possible. Not only that, but I have evidence of what happens when you go against her and don't agree with something, and she doesn't like it. Seems like a lot of these crazy people online. So does my ex-sister-in-law, who she is also suing for non-payment of rent on a property my mother owned in Fairburn, Georgia, that my brother was legally responsible for while she was a stay-at-home mom. Being a paralegal for over 25 years, she abuses the justice system and always has since I was a young lady. The pictures presented to the court clearly shows that she turned on the water after I reglazed her tub, as I did 3 years ago. I'm a real estate broker of 13 years. The oil stains in her driveway. My fiance is a master mechanic for Christian Brothers, and none of our vehicles leak oil of any kind. My mother has resided in this home for 16 to 17 years, and she is seeking for me to pay for others' mishappening. Since I told my stepsister and stepbrother she stole their money, my stepdad left them because she said it was a verbal agreement and you can't take a verbal to court. He had dying wishes and she stole their money because she said if he really wanted them to have it, then he would have updated his will and testament. Yes, I wish to fight her lies, not have these false accusations on my record, and countersue her for harassment of $10,000, which I have witnesses who can testify as well. So the mom is a paralegal, and Rochelle?
Yeah, correct.
Damn,
Correct.
and Ciera's a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
So there's clear issues in Xavier's family, the mother and the sister, and in that home. So it says here. So it said that the ex-sister-in-law, who is also suing for non-payment of rent. So the ex-wife is suing too.
Yeah, this was previously, I believe this is the ex-wife. So if I'm remembering this correctly, Xavier and her lived in a home of which Rochelle had owned, but it was up to him for upkeep and whatnot. And when she went to leave him, I believe, she went and sued just his wife at the time before Ciera was around. Actually sued her for a similar thing. I believe it was something like failed to pay rent and trying to evict her from their family house. And this was the wife before Ciera. This was Brittany.
Okay. Wow. And I mean, has there been any updates in this story recently, or it's been kind of like no real? They're not searching, right? Because I remember when we spoke yesterday in the spaces, like they don't even know where to search, I guess, right?
Yeah, there's not at least search parties going on because there's hard to nail down exactly where she is. I'm trying to see if we can kind of coordinate something. I mean, I think when he threatened to throw them in a body of water, that actually might be a good place to start in the vicinity of Rochelle's house, because they don't have any indication that she ever left Georgia. They don't see her on any other surveillance video. The only surveillance video they have is of her leaving Rochelle's house, but they don't give us a lot of detail on that video either. Like, was he with her? Was the baby with her, or anything of that nature?
Okay. Oh man. All right. If anybody has any other questions, but I think we kind of covered everything. How many wives? Somebody said. I think it's just, he just has one ex-wife, the current wife and the ex-wife. I mean, unless there's more, I don't know.
I think it's the one ex-wife. A lot of ex-girlfriends have come forward stating that this was the same type of abuse they went forward and went through. When she just went missing, I know you showed those pictures of his dating profiles. Women did come forward at that time being like, yeah, I just saw him recently, or I talked to him recently. So that was while he was married leading up to her disappearance.
So he was married leading up to disappearance and on those social media apps, like the dating apps.
Yeah, exactly, on those dating apps.
The Jeweled Monkey says, what is her life insurance policy? Do you know if she had like some sort of life insurance or?
I'm not sure. I can look into it, but that's an interesting take on it because I hadn't really thought of that angle. I know a lot of people are asking if people think that mom is in on it. There's a lot of strange behavior with some of his siblings and his mom. I think it's not necessarily that they all know something, but it's definitely the environment in which they were raised. Because some are very pro-Rochelle, but given the lifestyle that Rochelle has enabled Xavier to live, I wouldn't be surprised if he had done something, if she knows something, especially given the last known location and seeing we have those text messages and correspondence saying, hey, you know, I'm trying to leave the house. They're not giving me the baby. Like, she was stuck, and then she disappeared. So.
Okay, thanks. Jazz was saying, are his mom and dad together? So they're not, right? I guess.
No, his parents are divorced.
Right, they live separately. There was another question. Was something said to Ellie, lost all the cell phone data, or didn't do what needed to get it for Ciera's cell phone? I don't know what they have as far as data, whether his or hers. Have they ever spoken on that?
They haven't spoken to it, but keep in mind they do openly say that they took all three of her phones, her burner phone, her cell phone, and her
they took it.
And her work phone. So I'm sure they have them. So I'm sure that they'd have that information.
Okay. So Ciera bought or rented the house right to his dad's. Do you know how that came to be? Like, they're like next to each other.
I haven't seen too much about his dad. I believe it was Xavier's idea, and that he rented the house right next door. I'm not 100% sure. I just know that is where they resided, was right near him.
So, and they're on this family trip, and the confirmed last sighting was at his mother's house via video surveillance. And so then he claims that they drove back to Indiana, and they get home and she just walks off and disappears. She just took a walk and left. Is that right?
Yeah, his original story was that she walked to the store. There was two original stories. He said one time that she walked to the store and one time that she was leaving and walked off And then later on, there was the she was abducted theory that he throws out there.
And they never did a press conference on this or anything, huh? Doesn't seem like it.
There's been a lot of media talk, but there hasn't been any sort of update in a long time. I do know Brittany, his ex-wife, spoke to some of us recently and allowed us to put out there just to kind of drill home what type of behavior is happening here, how Rochelle is now suing Brittany, the ex-wife whom he has those aggravated stalking charges against. Now that he was found not guilty in that case very recently, Rochelle's now suing her for the money that she put up towards his bond fees. And that's still active right now.
So Xavier's mother is suing his ex-wife because he was found not guilty on one of those charges, and she's trying to get the money back.
Yeah, I just sent you the screenshot again.
All right. Bonding fees. Defendant alleged Xavier Breland was stalking her, and he was arrested in connection with this charge. Plaintiff paid the fees associated with bond. Okay. A jury trial was held for Xavier and was found not guilty. So she's suing for this amount, the $875 plus $120, or more.
Yeah, that is the amount. That is the amount this time that I think that she covered for his bond fees. Back when he was originally arrested.
Jeep Girl Jody says, so did they luminol the carpet? That's a good question, but they never talked whether they did or not, right? Nothing's been said about
No, a lot of that information is still what's being held close to the chest by the police. I really hope that they have. That's really all the information we've gotten officially as far as the state of the investigation, which is really unfortunate. I know a lot of people are wondering why Rochelle's phone and everything like that haven't been subpoenaed yet. I'm not exactly sure, or if they've done so quietly. It's not like Rochelle's the type to go ahead and admit it, and nowadays they don't actually have to physically take the device to get some of that information. So it just might not be public knowledge at this time.
All right. Well, I think, let's see. I think that's it. That's a good question. Me here at 4 says, don't they return bond when charges are not substantiated? I don't know.
I know in my state they don't. I know it's different per state, but I know in my state they don't.
Okay.
Oh, thanks, Dan. So he was bonded out right before Ciera went missing, and Rochelle paid for it, and then he was arrested again after Ciera went missing. So this is regarding the bond before Ciera went missing. I believe that's in regards to the stalking case, probably.
Okay. Do they have his car? That Volkswagen, did they? Who owned that? It was her car, right? Or
correct. It was her car. He did drive it back to Indiana with their son inside. We don't know if they ever took possession of the car. but they did investigate the car. I know her neighbors said that they saw them actively searching the house, taking evidence bags and investigating the car, but they didn't see if it ever actually left the property.
Okay. The car, no, it's not missing. That guy drove the car back to Indiana, so it's not missing. But he claims that they drove back together, I guess, and that then when they got home that she just walks off on her own. Kind of weird. But yeah, this is from February. It's been months and months and months. I mean, still gone. And it was cold too. It was cold. I forgot it was on your thing here. Let's see. On the timeline map.
Oh yeah.
It was dead of winter and the temperatures were in the 20s.
Yeah, and she left in shorts. Yeah, right.
Left in shorts, right? Yeah. That somebody in the chat just called that out too. Who was that? Somebody just called that out as well. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Not kind of weird. It is weird. Yeah, morph retro. So there's a lot of things that's odd about this story. He's driving a white 2017 Volkswagen. And he drove it back. And the video surveillance, I don't know. I guess that was like a neighbor's house or something, or somebody had recording. They saw her outside of the house, do you know, or inside? I guess it was outside.
I could be wrong about this, but I think it was someone's like ring or something like that. That was like right next door. I can get an exact answer on that. Let's see. Yeah, it was someone's household surveillance that caught her leaving the mother's house, or not necessarily leaving. She wasn't like walking out of the door, but she was like walking past a neighboring property that was like right next to her mother-in-law's house, and it was a Ring camera.
Okay. All right. I think we did good. We reached, I think, kind of the end. We're at an hour and a half. The True Crime Replay, thank you so much for coming through and with all the information. Thank you, Dan, out there too. And for this case, if people want to see, if they have Facebook, I put the link in the description. You guys are posting information for Breland there, right? Ciera?
Yeah, correct. Anything that we get new, I just know we released a bunch more of those full documents for anyone that watched. They just went up in the group today as well.
Okay. That's a group right there too. I put the link in the description if you guys want to go check them out if you have Facebook. And you can actually, if you want, like she said, there's all the court documents there. You can go take a look for yourself. If you just want to read it on your own time. Good source of information. So, all right. Thank you so much, True Crime. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Mel, for giving us your time, especially to this case.
Oh, for sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Yeah, so that's the group there. They're doing good work. Thank you guys so much for coming through today on the live stream. This is the story that I was kind of looking at for 2 days. And she provided a lot of information, and the articles and the videos were actually, I went and looked at that based off of the information she gave. And so it was a nice, I guess, collaborative effort. I was confused though. I was kind of confused because like the different people, I mean, I guess it's not that confusing, but you know, Rochelle, the sister, Nick and Kelly, which is Ciera's mother, and that weird stuff in that household. I don't know. Oh, thank you for posting the link. What I have, I want to do a members video. That's my goal before the end of the day. I haven't posted a members video in a while, so I have a members video I can do with regards to that side Botham story. And if I have time, I might do a regular video later today too. Just post it to the channel. Lilac, thank you so much for being a member for 7 months. As Ciera helped him with the ex-wife. Yeah, apparently. With legal stuff, apparently. Shelly, thank you so much for the super chat. Not the super chat, the 13-month membership. If he or she does not hit, threaten to murder, / hurt you physically, and you need 3 reports, etc., it is the worst. You never know when they will come for you. It's true. Oh, man. So, Magical Chaos said, please cover sins of our mother. We might do that. I don't know the Lori Vallow. We'll have to see. The other thing with that, guys, and I haven't watched it yet, Jeffrey Dahmer. There's a new documentary on Netflix, which I want to see. I've seen some of the older documentaries and stuff. I actually hear that documentary is really good. And so, I don't know, one of these days or nights, or maybe this weekend, I don't know, I'm going to watch that documentary. And there's another documentary that somebody recommended to me about that guy that worked at a fertility, I don't know, clinic or something, and impregnated 70-something woman. There's 2 documentaries that I want to see. Dahmer, right? I'm hearing that's a really good one. No purple light today. I got a little bit of green. They're so fascinated with the lights, and they actually think like when it's a different color that like I'm manually buying a new light or I'm changing out the lamp. It's a button. You can change whatever color you want. They've been stuck in there for like weeks. Yeah, that guy was nuts, man. When I was talking, I talked to, I forgot who it was. I think I talked to Sylvia the other day about that. And I just remember because there was one person that actually like got away from Jeffrey, or thought he got away because like he was, I think he was drugged or whatever, and he ran out the house naked. And Dahmer was chasing after him, and the cops see this, and they approach the guy. I don't remember exactly everything, how it happened, but Jeffrey pretends like, oh, I don't know, that's my boyfriend or something, and he's just a little drunk, and the cops let him go. And he takes this guy drugged up back to the place and kills him. I got a lot more natural lighting coming in today. Yeah, the cops brought him back. Somebody was telling me to do that there is a setting on there that whenever there's audio in my background, the colors just change randomly. And somebody was like, maybe you should do that to make them go crazy. And he eats them, yeah. Jeffrey Dahmer. I've seen the interviews too where Jeffrey, I think he was like sitting with his father or something. And I think his father had spoken about his child life or something like that. I saw that a long time ago somewhere. I think it was on YouTube or something. Yeah. Our Father. Yeah, I want to watch that one. Jeffrey Dahmer and Our Father. Yep. That's the one. There's a guy that got away. Dahmer actually drank the drug drink instead of the Vic. Oh, really? Oh, is that what happened? Dahmer drank the wrong one? Wait, what? No. Did he drug himself? I might. Sylvia was asking me about that. He's like, it's been a long time, man. When are you going to do videos on Discord? By the way, Discord right now is shut. Right now it's just private. It's right now we're not accepting. I'm not letting anybody come in for now until these people kind of take a break. But I think right now what I'm going to be doing is private invites. People that are actually active that I've seen, that I know, that are here all the time. If they need an invite, I'll invite them. And I don't know when, but hopefully soon we'll make it public again. We have over 2,500 people on Discord. All right, Nico, thank you for the super chat. He says 4 more purple lights. It was funny. I was watching this YouTuber. Okay, I watched. They were going crazy because of popcorn. They're like, "Yo, yes, purple lights too." And then there was this other YouTuber, Tspiracy. I had just clicked on her channel and I just scrolled to the part that said like, I think I scrolled to the part that said iCkEdMeL, but like she had some like purple lights too. She's like, oh look, purple lights, and like, you know, she's involved too now. That shit had me laughing. No new friends, right? No new friends. No new friends. So, but yeah, I'm gonna head out, man. I love you guys. Hit like on the way out. Hope you guys like take care of yourselves, your health. I'm getting myself in a good place, getting myself in the routine. You know, I'm still trying to get used to this school schedule because my daughter just started school, like kindergarten. So it's like different from like daycare, because daycare, you know, you can take them later, but now you got to take them a lot earlier. So I'm still adjusting to that. Adjusted. So, but yeah, love you guys. I'm gonna head out. Take care. Peace. Oop, start crazy. Bloop, bloop. Yeah, Lisa Fletcher. Yeah, I was supposed to cover that story. The murder suspect had an assault victim a year ago. I didn't know that. And they never tested her kit until after the abduction and murder. Wow. Holy crap. Yeah, if you guys don't know about Jeffrey Dahmer, go and check out that documentary. If you've never heard of that, you've never seen any documentaries,